Yeah. Okay, let's talk about a couple things. All right, so you've heard everything that's been said about people that have got up here so far, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, I'm going to ask the same question that I asked somebody earlier. Did you do something different than you would have otherwise?
Yes.
What did you do differently?
I tried to show more contrast.
See, I was going to actually tell you that that's the area that I think you need the most work on is more
I did say
contrast.
try.
Okay? All right, try harder.
Okay, yes,
So,
sir.
can you show even more contrast? So first of all, contrast what?
Mainly in like size for dynamics.
Okay, so
was
let's
aiming
do it
for.
again and show me more contrast and dynamics. Okay? I don't care about anything else. I don't care about style, anything like that. Just show me more contrast and dynamics. Okay? All right, so what's your normal job? You're a junior high band director, right?
Yes.
Okay. So how do you conduct this group different than you would your junior high group, or would you? It's not a trick question. I mean, are you conducting that differently here than you would on a daily basis?
Yes.
So what are you doing different?
I'm not being a metronome.
Okay, no, I can appreciate that. So let's talk about your first downbeat. Okay, it was like both hands, wham. Okay, can you be a little bit more musical with that opening gesture?
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, so can we just play the first? I don't know. Let's just play like the first two measures. Okay, and let's just play around with just your first downbeat for a little bit. Okay. Let's try it again. All right. Okay, so what are you trying to show with that very first? Are you trying to show length on that first note? Is that what you're trying to do?
Yes.
Okay, so let's make sure that pulse tempo doesn't get sacrificed because we're trying to show weight on that first note. Okay, try that one more time. Do something completely different. Okay, so what was different about that than what you did before? I didn't really see anything different.
That is correct.
Okay, do something different. Just play with it. Play whatever you see. Okay. Okay, what was different?
I put my left hand down.
Okay.
I was also trying to like go down more.
So just as a pretend like however you do it is how they're going to play it. Okay, so forget this what it's supposed to be. Just give me something different. Okay.
Okay.
So you guys understand what I'm asking her to do? Okay, so if she gives you, that's what I want you to do. Okay, so pretend like random piece and just do something different. Do something completely different now. Okay, do something even different. Okay. Okay. All right. So now, in the context of the piece, okay, what can we do? Tell me like two different ways that we can show contrast with our conducting.
Size.
Okay, size of the pattern. What else?
Like tension versus.
Okay, that's more of a style thing, I think, than a dynamic thing. But what about where we put the pattern? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Does it carry more weight if it's down here as opposed to up here?
Yes.
Okay, that'd be one way to show contrast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so instead of thinking it always being about size is the only way we can show contrast, think about where we put the pattern, okay? And I think you might be surprised at the result, okay? So again, only showing contrast and dynamics. Let's don't worry about size of the pattern. Let's worry about where we put the pattern here, okay?
Okay.
All right? Gonna keep going this time.
a technical thing and then a musical, heady, philosophical thing. Are you ready? Okay, the technical thing is this. From here out is articulation. From here back is phrasing. Here back for you never moves. It stays in the same place, so that your phrasing is very minimal. The articulation isn't all that bad, actually. You show a lot of articulation. I want you to start. How do I do this?
You can swipe on it too.
Oh, I can't. But this is way more fun.
Okay. Yeah.
Like the little foot pedal thing up here. Again, I'm not this technologically advanced. I need papyrus. Okay. Let's go at 1. And I want you to keep the articulation here, but think about moving the arm for phrasing. So what is your phrasing? If I ask, let's talk about it. If I ask you what is phrasing, what does that mean to you?
Like the overall thought.
Sure. So if you were to write your phrasing for this from 1 to 2, what would your phrasing be? Sorry, I'm touching things. It's gonna like FaceTime your mom or something. Okay.
So one phrase and then next phrase.
So it's 4 plus 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, every conductor in the room, when you first do an overview of a score, phrasing should be one of the first things you write in. It can change, but you have to mark phrasing. So for this spot, you'd write a 4. You draw a little line over the score, goes whoop, and write a 4. Go 4 bars, write another line, and write a 4. That way in your brain, you know the phrasing is 4 plus 4. That way you can control the arm going a 4-bar phrase. Here, the articulation, so that phrase is from here to here. Boom. So my phrasing was 4 bars out here, 4 bars back in, with the articulation out there. You see that? Let's try this. Okay, let's go right there. You're doing great. Start at 1. You know, no left hand. Just do your right hand, because this is a lot to think about. So phrasing from here back, articulation there out.
At 1?
At 1? Is that a 1?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1. Everybody know where we are? Yeah. Thank you. Sorry, some of you thought we were at the beginning. Thank you. Here's 1. Okay, good. Let's isolate this. Can we go at 1? Here's with me. Here we go. I'm not going to do any phrasing, only articulation. Here we go. 2, ready, go. So the phrasing. Here's articulation. Do that. So there's no phrasing. We're only thinking about articulation. Thank you. Good. How old are your students?
14, 15.
Yeah, that really annoying age. Yeah. Okay. My 9-year-old acts like she's 15. Yeah. Oh. Just don't have children. It's a lot easier. I'm kidding. I love being a dad, and you know that. But you're preparing them to go, boom, like this big thing. You don't need that. Just trust them to play. Here we go. Just trust them. That's probably harder for you at home because you don't know what's going to happen. But that's another separate conversation that we could have another time. Trust them. Here we go. Don't move your arm. Only wrist. Boom. 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 Good. Thanks. Did you see the contrast? Almost. Almost. Okay, do it again. See if you get more contrast. I'm going to go with you. 1, 2, ready, go. Change here. Go back. Good. Now let's go the other way. I'm going to count them off, and you don't move from here out, so no articulation, and only move the arm where you want the phrase to go.
Okay.
Okay, so we are designating different jobs for the appendage. Okay, here we go. Here's 1. First time. 1, 2, ready, go. Right, but you're moving your you're moving your wrist, right? This is hard. This is why it's a technical thing. Okay, go with me. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. You see that? Okay, now I'm going to add in this and watch what happens. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, now see if you can, don't move the wrist out, just move the arm for phrasing. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Slowly, 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 go back in. Good, thank you. Good. Let's try not to rest the last 4 bars. That would be brilliant. Okay, now add this in. Okay, do the same articulation and just see if you can slowly move the arm out as you go. Okay, this is hard, but you're doing great. Sorry. 1, 2, ready, go. Boom, boom, boom. Repeat it, go. 1, 2, 1, 2. Here you go. Thanks. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's a lot of pre-planning,
Yes.
right? But just everybody remember, articulation is the wrist out, phrasing is the wrist back. Okay, that's that. Okay, now I have just a couple minutes, right? 2 minutes. Thank you, reader. Now the heady philosophical thing. If I looked at you and I said, Ashley, I have $3 million and I have hid it in the... You're like, where's the $3 million? You're like, you said you had it. Where is it? I don't. I'm lucky to have $5, right? Point being, you don't finish a phrase much like I didn't finish the sentence. Right? The important part of that sentence is, where the heck is it? Can we agree? Yeah. I didn't tell you. I don't know either. But your phrasing, it's like you get through 7.5 bars, and then it's like, oh, and you leave out the very end. What we call cadential clarity. Right? The cadential clarity of the phrase is important. You must finish a sentence. Think about that. What if you had a conversation with someone and every time you spoke, you didn't finish the sentence? Every time you spoke, you didn't. And then now we're going to go to the Dr. Snow really like. But that's how we conduct sometimes. We don't ever give the punctuation. We never finish the point. We never get to the cadence. Okay? Let's go back to the beginning and see if you can think about that. Don't worry about the arm hand thing we talked about. That you can program back in. See if you can hear the end. As conductors, we hear the beginning great. We hear the middle great. It's the end that we oftentimes don't hear. Okay.
Nope.
Beginning.
Sorry.
Thank you. And there's even smaller sentences. Bum, 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 bum. Did you hear that chord? What is that chord? You don't know. So that's good to know. Can you hold that chord? Beat 2 of measure 2? Hold it. Beginning. 1, 2, beginning, go. Thank you. Hold it when you get there. 1, 2, ready, go. That's a fun chord. Yes? That's what I'm talking about, hearing the cadence. That your ears got to hear that chord before you instantly go to the next phrase. Okay? Try it. Focus on hearing the cadences. Here we go. Beginning. Don't stop. Keep going. Good. Did your brain hear it?
Yes.
Isn't that fun? You're like, hey, that's harmony. Sometimes when we hear that and we hear the end of cadences or we end up slowing it down, we're like, hey, that's a really cool chord. And we do this a lot. We'll play a chord and they're like, oh, I didn't even realize that was a major chord. Because we just go through it so fast, me included. But then we isolate it and we're like, hey, now I know what that is. So you're hearing the end of the sentence. You're hearing what we call cadential clarity. Sound good? Thanks, Ashley. Great. All right.